Hello, 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 and welcome to the Drag Race RHAP here on reality TV RHAPups. I'm your host, Liana Boraas, and we are here to talk about everything from RuPaul's Drag Race, All Stars, All Winners, Season 7, whatever, Episode 7, all mother-tucking winners. We are all fanning ourselves to get through this hot summer. Yes, we are here to talk about everything from this episode. So before we start, look, there was a Supreme Court decision, came through the pipes. We kind of knew about it beforehand, but it's official now that Roe v. Wade has been overturned. And I know that for all of us on the podcast, this is something that has deeply affected us and is horrible. I'm just going to straight up say it. So I love having my rights taken away. Good for us. So we get that this is a really tough time, and we're absolutely here if you need anything to reach out to create a community of support, because this is something that's so important to literally everybody. We should all give a shit about this. But you know, especially the queer community. And this is something that obviously is very important, especially with a lot of the implications that this decision has. So we just want to state that at the top of the show. Obviously, we're aware of the situation. And if anybody needs anything, we're here as a community. At the same time, we also want to have fun talking about the episode this week. And just because there's something really shitty going on doesn't mean that we can't take a moment and have some fun with RuPaul's Drag Race, the show that we all love. So, you know, use this motivation as an opportunity to organize, to unionize, to vote, right? All of these things are so incredibly important as we try to shape our country and take it back in a way that doesn't hurt so many people in this country. So just wanted to state that at the top of the show. All right, now let me welcome in our fabulous panel. Now, this woman didn't get an opportunity to talk with us last week, but don't worry, she is here. It is Beth Dixon. Beth, how are you?
Good to be back. It was my turn to miss. We've all now missed an episode this season, which is too bad because this has been such a good season. But I'm so happy to be back with you both and to chat about this episode. I just want to quickly say one more note on the Roe v. Wade situation, which is please be inclusive with your language as we talk about this to everybody out there. Not only women have uteruses. So think of your non-binary friends, your trans men, the gender non-conforming people in your life who may have uteruses and may be affected by this. So just wanted to put that note out there, since I know so many of you also listen to this particular podcast, know that we see and validate you as well. But no, let's get into this episode. I'm excited.
Yes, absolutely. And that's why I talk about like how important this issue is to like everyone, literally everybody. We should all care. We should all give a shit. All right. And you heard him. He was our, holding down the fort with me last week, looking gorgeous in blue. It is Aman Adwin. Aman, how are you?
I'm great. And yeah, I echo everything that you all just said. It is very important. And I think from my perspective as like just a queer man, sometimes I feel like I'm so far out of the realm of like, you know, what that should mean and imply for my life, seeing as how I'm one that probably won't have to worry about that specifically firsthand. But you all know people that have had to experience it. I guarantee you, there's somebody in your life that had to experience it or talk about it, or at the very least, it was very adjacent to them. So I know for a fact that that's me, and that would have changed the dynamic of my family. So it's a really rough time for everybody. So yeah, my heart goes out to those that are really, really feeling the pressure right now. But hopefully a little bit of Drag Race escapism will do your day some good. So we're here.
All right. Well, let's actually, Beth, is there anything that you want to say about last week's episode before we move on? The girl group challenge?
Yeah,
all that?
I just wanted to first of all, thank you both for holding down the fort. I listened and enjoyed it immensely. I to be honest with you, I felt like I was happy that Evie was getting recognized, but I felt like her lyrics didn't necessarily match the character that she was wiggling around on stage. And I wish that she could have been more robotic in the delivery of the lyrics. Maybe that would have helped. But altogether, I was happy to see her get another star. I was happy to see Viv get another star. It was a fun episode. I liked the realism versus like the rejected girls, essentially. I thought it was a lot of fun altogether. So I think basically y'all kind of nailed it last week. I agreed with your sentiments.
That's why I asked. I just wanted to compliment.
Yeah. You're like, what did you think specifically about my thoughts?
Can you say like, specifically what it is that you like that you felt like I really just got so right?
What about me?
Yeah, but what about me though?
Are you both Leos too?
All right, well, we're moving on from the girl group challenges and the Dolly Parton of it all and moving into the Maxi challenge for this week. So obviously we had chatted a little bit about this, but we found out exactly what was going on here, where the queens are tasked with creating a signature legendary legends look inspired by one of Ru's, specifically Zaldi's looks.
Yeah.
And this was also apparently sponsored by Pinterest. Very heavy,
I was like, wow.
Pinterest influence, right? So this is inspired by Pinterest. Ru put together a Pinterest board of looks that the queens.
What are the chances that RuPaul actually did that?
Has Ru used Pinterest?
Ru doesn't use any apps on his phone. Like self-proclaimed is like, I don't even have a Twitter app. He uses the internet browser on his phone to check Twitter. If he's on his phone. Otherwise, everything's from the computer.
Well, Pinterest has an app on the computer, though, right? Like a desktop, or no?
I don't know.
They have an app for your phone, for sure.
I think 2014 was the last time I used Pinterest.
Yeah, me too. I got into it for like a good month, and then I was done.
Yeah, it was like the thing, because I was planning a wedding at the time. Like all of everyone who was planning a wedding, like used Pinterest. They were like, "This made Pinterest board, made Pinterest board." And
yeah,
so
I'll still go back to it. Like
yeah,
like if I'm planning like a Halloween party or Christmas party for like ideas for decorations and drinks and stuff like that, I'll come back to it. But other than that, no, it's.
My mom
used it for haircuts.
Oh, haircuts. Yeah. See, that's the thing is like sometimes, especially if you find a Pinterest board that like has things of interest, it can be useful. But yeah, it was surprising to me because to me in the the zeitgeist of culture currently, I didn't realize Pinterest was.
It was like next week's will be sponsored by Tumblr. It's going to be great.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the outline of essentially what they have to do. They've got these 8 looks up on Ru's personally generated Pinterest board, and the queens get to go through, pick what look they want, and then obviously make a look that is not a replica but inspired by that Ru look. So, the picking obviously seemed to be kind of interesting because Viv, as the winner of last week, got to have the first pick, and then it was go down the line of give the next person the opportunity to pick. Beth, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, it was interesting that instead of maybe throwing a bone to the people who clearly aren't good at design challenges, they literally were like, okay, so after... the Viv goes, who'd she pass it to? Trinity, right? Yeah, okay. I was like, that is a choice. The person who won the challenge last time, like, what are you trying to do? You should be trying to sabotage. I thought it was like either Trinity or Jada. I couldn't remember. But you should be trying to sabotage those two. Maybe Raja. Those are the 3 top people. And I would say Shea. Throw Shea into that too. Those are the top 4 that I'd be like, maybe let's not pass it to them. I would immediately be giving it to like Jinx would have been my first, especially like you just blocked Jinx. Yes. Don't you want to maybe save your ass in case she happens to pull a win out?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and not even that, but like just give it to her anyway. It doesn't matter. Like, what do you care? Like, people are going to understand it's like, oh, you're trying to make up, or maybe they thought, oh, it would look fake if she did it. I don't know. Who cares?
Yeah. But then on the other end of it, it's also like if you are aligned with people, you do want to make sure that they get first dibs because even if it's not, because it wasn't a replica, it was just inspiration. So you can really make whatever you would like as long as you follow the color pattern and then general silhouette for whatever it is. So I totally saw the alliances at work once Trinity got to pick Monet and then Monet picked Shea and just like down the line. I was like, all right, well. Evie's screwed here.
Well, but that's a great point because essentially what ended up happening, and I didn't realize that Viv and Trinity were that close. I mean, clearly Trinity seems to get along with a lot of the girls, so like, but whatever. As soon as Trinity was picked and it goes Trinity, Monet, Shea, I was like, that's the group that worked together.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Like,
the only person they left out was Raja.
Yeah, because then I think Shea ends up picking Jada, right? So
and then Jada chooses who? Evie?
Evie picked Jinx, and then by default, Raja was the last one, which I thought was kind of interesting.
I mean, and this is what Raja does, so I totally understand leaving her at the end if you
fine
want
with that
some
too.
type of threat. Yeah.
I knew that whatever Raja got, she was going to be able to pull it out. So,
well, we'll get to it.
We will talk about that because I have thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, so really, like, that's our whole that's the whole episode, right? So we have a lot of workroom stuff that
I have to say though, there were definitely certain outfits that lended themselves more to like that you could choose from RuPaul's like Pinterest board. There were more outfits that you could go, okay, this is going to have to take more of a different kind of approach. This one's going to be, I just have to create another gown. Like there were just the way that you looked at them. Like I think that the Born Naked was going to be the hardest one because it was basically ripped white pants and like a ripped shirt. Like
that's true.
I feel like
there's like less inspiration for that.
Yeah, I really feel like it was strategic to like think about, okay, what do we think that certain people's aesthetics would be? And if you're as confident as Trinity, for example, I thought it was interesting that Trinity chooses the season 8 promo to have that like baby doll look, right? And I was like, oh, that'll be interesting to see how she pulls that off as like a inspiration for another look. And I would argue that even though some of the outfits were incredible, I would never have gotten that they were some kind of like inspired by the original look. Whereas others, I'd go, oh, okay, this is definitely a reimagining of a different look. This is not a replica, but this is a reimagining of a different look, taking somebody's drag aesthetic. And if that was the challenge, even though there were some beautifully constructed things, I would say I don't think certain people should have won because of it.
So this is the Pinterest board. Okay. So these are all of the options that they have to choose from. I mean, some it's like if you have something that's like something incredibly iconic about the look, then that sort of immediately stands out, which is, I think, Beth, what you're saying.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you know, for Supermodel of the World, those ruffles are like so iconic. The VH1 Divas, you know, obviously both of the fabrics, very iconic. Yeah, the Born Naked promo, like, I guess it's just, like ripped loose fabric. I guess to me, it's like, it doesn't stand out as much. The face kini, obviously, very, you know, something
but
very
even with the face kini, you're going to have a face kini, I'm assuming, right? So that tells you something that you probably are going to have to incorporate into your look to a certain extent, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I thought that they were, so when they were in the workroom and Ru was talking to Monet about choosing the face kini, and she brought up the fact there's so much controversy. I was like, oh, are we about to get like an actual debunking from the rumor that was Raven under there the whole time? But then they didn't talk about it. That was so sad.
I thought it was because she had pink eye.
Yeah, she had something going on. Well, that's why if you go back and they listened, she had a cold of some sort because they had to go back and
like voiceover, right?
Yeah, that is a lip sync for your life. It was always one of my favorite. If you go back and listen to Monet versus Dusty's, like the ending of like when she's commenting and shit to the girls in the back, that is what we call a lip sync for your life. So good.
I feel like there was something also with her workroom look too, right? Like, wasn't she also wearing like big ass sunglasses or something? Which is anyway. So that's what I was hoping when we talk about the controversy. That's what I was hoping.
I just love that she was like, you know, on this show, I'm not afraid to take risks, which we've seen with fashion. Like, I love that when RuPaul goes away from like what we would traditionally see RuPaul wearing. But I love that she was like, and this is an example of that. I was like, yeah, it's an example of like you had a cold and didn't want anyone to see.
But I will say, very creative. I don't think if I was trying to hide a cold, I would go full face kini. So you know what? Like, full props. Credit where credit is due. Okay, let's actually is there anything, I guess you know what, let's just talk about the looks. All right, our main item of the day to talk about. So we're going to go through each of the looks. I have, if you're watching the YouTube video, the Queen's look with the inspired look. So we can sort of look and see, do we truly feel like this was inspired? And first up is Evie, who picked third to last and ended up picking the supermodel of the world look, which is the red ruffles with the orange and the touch of pink. So Aman, how did you feel about this look from Evie?
I loved this look. I loved it. I loved that she decided to reverse the structure, have the flare out at the top, have the more cinch at the bottom. The only critiques that I have is just I love the pants. I forget the Japanese term for them. I think she said hakama, I think is what she said. I should know this since I've studied the language for so effing long. Wow, shame on me. But yeah, I wish that there was just a bit more edge to the pleat, because I feel like it had the tendency to sort of like bunch up and look just a little just like formless. So that would have been like my one critique. And then the other one, maybe just, I'm not really sure how, I don't know the technical term for it because I'm not a seamstress, I don't know, but to create a little bit more structure with the sleeves so that I can tell where your arm is and then where the flare happens, so it's like a little bit more dramatic, because sometimes it sort of like drooped a little bit and like it just looked a little bit too deflated. But I see the image, I see what she was going for, and I absolutely love the idea. And her makeup and hair were just the perfect complements to it as well. So yeah, I thought she did a great job.
Yeah, I totally echo that. I think that the concept this is one to me that's clearly inspired, right? Because it's like she took the look and flipped it upside down. Love the pants, love the idea for the sleeves, but yes, I think if maybe she had more time, they could probably be a little bit more, the ruffles could be defined. I think she spent a lot of time on the pants, so then the rest of the outfit kind of by default starts to fall apart a little bit more. Like the pants are clearly the best. Then you have like the idea for the ruffle sleeves, and then the middle bit, which is kind of like supposed to be the belt part, which again, I totally get, just with I don't have a close-up picture here, but just looked really unfinished. So, you know, it just kind of like fell apart as she got further along. But again, love the concept. Love it, love it, love it.
I thought this was fantastic. And I love that on the like top portion, which is supposed to replicate the belt, she has aspects of the sparkles on the buckle of the belt that are like throughout, like just a little attention to detail there. I really appreciate and like. I like that she's wearing a necklace up at the top, similar to the kind of necklace that RuPaul's wearing, although much smaller. But I kind of wish she had put it as like a belt, like had like a crystal belt or something like that that looked similar to the necklace, to really show us the upside down flip of this kind of look. I think that would have been really cool. I do like the contrast in hair. I think I completely agree with you that this is one that I could look at this and go, supermodel of the world turned upside down. That's amazing. Like if I had been told, look out for the runway, these are all going to be inspired, I wouldn't even have had to see this to know that was supermodel of the world.
Yeah. I think if she had truly gone like completely upside down, I think you do silver shoes and then you do a red necklace, because it's like the shoes are the necklace. I don't know. It's like it's not too much. We take it too literally.
Also, if she had worn like red stockings, because it could have been like the gloves on the arms or something like that. But that's a lot. So I actually don't advocate for that.
Okay. Let's talk about the next look. So this is the Vivienne, who got to pick first, and she went for the Despy Awards look. Beth, what did you guys think about this?
This is definitely, I could tell the moment she walked out that this was her interpretation of the Despy Award looks. Now, I have to say this, I have never, ever liked the headpiece portion for the Despy Award. I was like, why is that bow like so childish? Like it, you know what I mean? Like it looks like, oh, we put this on like little Susie for like this golden rabbit that she's gonna play in the school. Like it was just, I never really liked that portion of RuPaul's look, especially because I didn't think it really matched her wig.
It's giving crunched up chocolate bar wrapping.
Oh, it's foreshadowing of the chocolate.
It's just chocolate. Oh my gosh. But what I love about what the Vivian did was like, that was clearly like, hello, I'm doing this look, because you would look immediately to the hair and do that. But she was able to take two different textures of fabric, put them together, make this kind of almost saloon-like look, not quite to the saloon look that we see with Jinx in a little bit, but also this Vivienne Westwood kind of inspired look. I love the shoes with it. I love this. And I'm going to say this because I haven't said it enough. I have such a girl crush on the Vivienne in drag. Oh my gosh. The airbrush look that she pulls off with makeup every single week. I just look at her and I go like, you're so pretty. Oh.
Yeah, she did look good.
But yeah, I loved it.
I loved it too. I'm not sure how you pull off the how you construct the little rouged up portion of the skirt. So I'm always in awe of all of these people that know how to just create shit like this. But no, I think that she definitely did the look a great service. I would say maybe she didn't go far enough, maybe in terms of like, you know, not creating an exact replica. Obviously it's not a replica, but it's damn near close to it. The only difference is just the asymmetrical skirt. But everything else is pretty much the same. So beautifully constructed, but maybe not inspired enough.
Right. I think that was like the only critique really that I had was, I mean, obviously it looks gorgeous, flawless execution. But then it comes down to your interpretation of inspired, right? Because I think obviously the choice to replicate the top to look very similar as well as the headpiece, obviously that is, oh, okay, I want people to know that it clearly is this look. And then I'm going to differentiate myself by changing the bottom part of the silhouette. But the silhouette on the top is like exactly the same. And so, yeah, I guess it kind of toes that line of, are you creating something new inspired by this? Or are you doing too much of a replica? And is that something that could count against you? Which I do wonder if that did happen here. If that it was almost like too similar. And so the judges took off points for that.
Yeah, I kind of did the same thing in my mind. I was like judging them on like how the first thing that I instinctually went to was how difficult was this to make? And then the next thing I did was, okay, like which one actually looks the best? And then the next one was like, okay, so which interpretation is the best?
Yeah.
So like 3 separate criteria, and then whoever averages out is the winner.
Yeah, I get
She's
that.
like the golden trophy wench, and I'm here for it. Like I really liked this. This is one of my top looks of this runway. I really felt like for me it was definitely different enough. I understand that the top and like the hair piece and the hair itself are like very similar, but she put straps up at the top. It's not off the shoulder to the same degree or like the same way that it is in the other look. Like she made those small choices that I think show that it's inherently different. And I love that we have a different texture underneath. Like to me, it's definitely different enough that I feel like it's inspired, but I can understand how people would not feel that way.
I think part of me also just really wants Viv to start getting more credit. Like, I don't know, maybe she is getting enough credit and it's just like, you know, it's just me. I just feel like she is to a certain extent a little bit the villain, you know, because of the blocking Jinx thing. And so I don't know. I just feel like to come in, to be in a different country, to be, you know, like a little bit the odd man out. Even though, you know, there are other queens that may have elements of that, like Jada being the, you know, most recent winner and not really getting to experience her crown. And so, you know, she may also feel a little bit that way. But I want her to know that you're doing great, hun.
You're doing amazing,
well,
sweetie.
You're doing amazing, sweetie. Okay, let's talk about Shea Coulee, who picked the season 5 Sugar Ball look and spent a good portion of her time having to handcraft the leopard print, which I didn't realize they didn't give her any leopard print.
No, she had to paint it
on.
Which
seems wild to me. Like, that's such a disadvantage. Because
they should have shown them what the materials were for each one in order for them to make the decision.
Because I wonder if she had known that she was going to, I mean, because that's the thing. Like, look, realistically, how are you going to make an inspired look and not have some type of leopard print? That's not, you know?
Agreed. That's exactly what I was going to say. And to that point, I would say I love the top portion of this. And I love that she took the time to hand paint and do all of that crafting. Like, that's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't hate the pants. The pants are really cute. And this is absolutely fashion chic, like from top to bottom. But there's just something about the fact that like Evie's pants to me were drag. This to me is like not as like over the top in some capacity. I don't know. I feel like I'm being hypocritical when I think these kind of things. So I
just think it's the wrong color. I don't know where the purple is coming from. Is that like actually the color of the dress? I don't know. For me, I was like, if it was the same pink as the pink that she used to dye, then I think it would be a little bit more cohesive. For
Maybe
some reason, that's
pants
like
were like yellow, like to match the leopard shade.
Or that
Or the
to match
orange.
the belt,
Yeah.
like that orange belt or something that's on the dress. If
Yeah.
that would have been absolutely. Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I don't think it's the style. Like, I don't think it's the cut of the pants.
Yeah.
And also for her to make pants like that, again, props. Like, that's always so impressive. I can make a tube and that's about it. So, like, I mean,
I couldn't even make a tote bag in 7th grade, so I don't know.
So like that's I really I genuinely think that's just the color.
You know what? This is why I'm so thankful that we have a podcast where we talk about this, because there's sometimes I just look at something and I go, why don't I like this? There's something about that I just don't feel like flows or fits. And you're completely like, I'm sitting here, I'm like, the pants are fine, but I'm also like, but they're not fine. And I don't know what it is. You're right. It's the color.
Yeah, I do wish that the leopard print that she spent so much painstaking time over was just a bit more centerpiece, because I feel like with it being ruffled up, it's harder for me to understand and see all of her work. Because we got to see like lots of fabric with her painted leopard print, and then it all gets smushed together. So that's the one thing that I'm like, oh, I kind of, you spent so much time, I want to see your work. She loves this like 1950s type of like vacation lounge type of, I feel like I've seen her do this before. I mean, that was like that was her entrance look for All Stars 5, when she comes in with like the little vacation bag and everything. That Shea just loves the vacation, girl. She loves the vacation.
Ugh, I wish I could join her on vacation. Well, just generally, but I just want a vacation.
Everyone, vacation had to get away.
It's so funny that you're saying, okay, and I'm sorry to bring it up now, but like we literally just opened Hot Mess Moments this past week by talking, because we were going to talk about vacation, and I sang that song, and then I was saying like, didn't the Rugrats sing the song? We had a whole philosophical discussion about the Rugrats and the vacation song, and now you're singing it, and I'm just like, it's just haunting me.
It's also in an episode of Glee, and I love that cover.
I love.
Oh, man. All right. Actually, Aman, I do love your point, to go back about the fact that you spent all this time dyeing it and then you just smushed it all up so I couldn't really see it. I don't know if maybe she had enough to do the pants. I mean, probably not, right? She probably didn't dye enough fabric, but that could be a way to showcase it.
Yeah, that would have pulled it together. Yeah.
Or like, I don't know. It just sucks.
I don't like the middle portion where she clearly put a leopard spot in the middle, but it just looks like it's underneath.
It's supposed to look like a buckle, and it's a leopard spot, but I'm just getting buckle. So it's just.
Yeah. I'm getting undershirt. That's what I'm getting. Like, you put the black like jacket over it, and I think that's maybe where some of the disconnection with the pants for me is also coming in, is that I can't figure out if that's a buckle, if it's a top, or if it's like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like if there was a little bit more distinction there. I also kind of think that the leopard print could have been brought down to the shoes, because it's weird that it's only on the upper part of the body and not on the bottom. Like, if there was something that, if she didn't have time to do it only on the pants, do something on the shoes just to bring that little element down farther.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying, is that I think that she was at such a disadvantage with the fabric. I mean, you see Trinity even comes in to help her finish making her outfit, right? So like, she talks about how she was working all night making this. So I do want to just acknowledge that disadvantage that she was at. And so I totally agree, like, with what, the suggestions, and obviously we've made our own of like how we think it could be improved. But I think this is like, look, This is what I got. This is what I'm going with. And that's unfortunate.
Drag queens are going to tell somebody who clearly knows what they're doing on the TV.
Fix your shit, bitch.
Fix that.
Yeah, so faster. Like, what do we know?
Work outside the confines and without the disadvantages, please.
I think it just, like, for me, it just sucks knowing what she could have made if she had not
100%.
had that disadvantage, right? Like, that's sort of the biggest thing is that obviously this looks like the concept is stunning, right? And I feel the same way with Evie, although maybe she didn't have the same disadvantage of just like, if they were given a little bit more time, I wonder what it would have looked like.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the eventual winner of the challenge, Trinity, who picks the season 8 promo look.
Well,
it's beautiful.
It is beautiful. It's beautiful. Look, Trinity is like, I say it every damn week. She's so good with this type of stuff. Like, her runways are always exquisite. She's got exquisite taste, and it turns out she knows how to make a damn dress. Like, it's not perfect. There's, there's a little bits and pieces of it that are like a little ragtag, but I chop all of that up to it just being they didn't have enough time. I feel like if she had more time, this would have been. I mean, how it looks in the pictures that she's been posting online this past week is how it probably would have looked if she had maybe like a week more than she did. But with that being said, it was just so good. And the fact that she whipped up the gloves the day on elimination day, like it's just undeniable. She had this week in the bag.
Yeah. I think
she definitely has something hard that she pulled off here. Like this was not easy to make.
No. And I mean, to make the silhouette at the bottom. I mean, this to me also, I mean, obviously that's how she translated the baby doll silhouette to put it lower. And she talks about that. And Raja even then tries to sabotage her to a certain extent at the beginning about like, you sure you want to do that? I think it is just like some of the little details that kind of throw me a little bit. Like I'm not a big fan of the big bow on the back. And then also the bow on the waist. I feel like pick one because the look has one. Do it on the back or do it on the front. And then I love on Ru's look the larger gems, the larger jewels.
Yeah.
And she uses smaller ones, which again inspired. But I don't know. That to me is something that I think of when I think of that baby doll dress, and so I just wanted that on her.
See, I didn't get. Sorry, Beth. I didn't get. I didn't understand like what the look was, like what Ru's original look was going for until she said, "Oh, the baby doll." I was like, "Oh, it is supposed to be a baby doll." So to that point, yeah, definitely bring that big bow. I think you should leave the bow where it is. If you're gonna alter the dress the way that you did, leave that. But I think then give me that big bow right there, the centerpiece right there, so that I know it's instantly recognizable. And then if you want to add another bow like towards the bottom, you can. And then you're right. I think you give us a bit more drama with the gemstones so that we can see this is like a blown up baby doll dress.
The thing
that
I
maybe
like
the hair as well. I think maybe you go for like a more traditional, like, hair style for like that style of doll or something like that.
This comes across, and don't get me wrong, this is obviously a beautiful look, and this is also, it took so much talent and creativity to be able to do this. So like, I'm not knocking her for that. What I miss from this dress is the feel of the texture that you get from RuPaul's, whether it's the big things or like the big gems that you talked about, or if it's the ostrich feathers or the things that are coming off of the dress that give it this textured feel. This inherently just feels like a different look that you're coming after. Like if side by side, oh yeah, I can see the inspirations. But if you told me this is modeled off of a RuPaul look, I would immediately think to the gowns that RuPaul wears and try to figure out in my mind, oh, is that it? I wouldn't be thinking about this because the textures don't match. She has a lot of tulle, which I'm sure she was trying to get that feeling of ostrich. I don't know. They probably didn't give her ostrich.
I bet. Well, and then also there's like sort of lace, like the actual like Ru's look is very textured.
It's incredibly textured.
I bet they just didn't give her that, and this is what she had to work with.
And that's what I think is like an issue.
Yeah, that is too expensive. You're not getting ostrich feathers, girl.
Yeah, exactly. Like or chicken feathers or something like that. I just give her something.
Joey J is quaking.
The texture. She clearly had the stones, and she used the stones mostly on that mill bow. The big bow on RuPaul's is just such a contrasting feel to the rest of the look, which is why I appreciate the smaller bow on her waist, but not so much the one on her back. So I'm fine with that one on her waist because it's supposed to be the contrast, right? In RuPaul's, it's like a satin in which contrasts with the rest of her look. Here, it's like she took all the bejewels and put it on there. But I wish she would have bejeweled the entirety of the bow then, not just like a little like diamond in it. But I don't know. I have so many little things like that. And I think once again, similar to Shea, I think some of this is just completely out of Trinity's control of like whatever they gave her. And for that alone, I thought that there were other looks that I felt like met the mission of the runway a little bit better. That said, I'm not upset that this won. This is a gorgeous look.
I feel like when it came down to it, they're all of like, if they're all judging each other, I feel like all of them are like, okay, even in the Untucked, they were like, Trinity's going to be in the top because they all know what it takes to construct something like this. And they were even highlighting, oh, look, even the bottom portion of it it's even that is layered. There's different textures in that. And then even though it's hard to see it in this picture, it is bejeweled. There are jewels all up and down the bodice. So she sewed all of that stuff in. Like, that's insane. Like, it's
crazy.
I don't know. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. But now, ever since we said chicken feathers, all I can hear is Candy Muse reading.
Joey J.
Yes, Joey J. Chicken feathers.
Oh man. Yeah, this is this is what Aman was referencing with the edited version, which does look to be a slightly different color, but could be photo edited. I don't know about that. But I think the silhouette is a little bit more defined here, which I think also sort of helps with the overall shape of the garment. But you can really see the detail on the bottom piece, on the mermaid flare of the gown, and you can see like how detailed that is with the different levels. So I think this helps a little bit to see some of those details.
Right.
There.
Absolutely. She is definitely a seamstress.
Oh,
for sure.
And she helped so many other people too, right?
All I could like see in my mind, you know, my Disney ass brain, all I could see was just like the whole montage in Sleeping Beauty when the three fairies are constructing her dress. I'm like, how is she doing this? It's insane.
Yeah, that's her secret, actually. She has little birds that fly in and help construct different looks. Okay, let's talk about RHA. So RHA was left last and got the Born Naked promo look. So Beth, I feel like you've got some thoughts on this.
This would be such an amazing look if she booked a gig at Burning Man. I just kind of felt like there's like a hippie desert warrior kind of feel to it that I love. But this is another one where I kind of sit back and go, like, what else could you, what could you do with this? What kind of materials were she given? It looked like she just made kind of a cage and then just hung things off of it. It looks good on her because once again, RHA could wear anything and look amazing. Like, I'm constantly in awe of just how beautiful her skin is from head to toe. Like, there was as y'all know, I'm ace. So like, I'm looking at her and not being like at all like sexually attracted, but I'm looking at her and being like, oh my God, the glow like on this human is just so absolutely mesmerizing. Her hair, like everything. But I can't, all of that aside, I can't forgive her for this. This is not it. RHA, I expect so much more. What is this?
What is it? That's it. That is where the story begins and ends for me. What is it? I know that she, like, look, when it was on the whatever you call that thing, the mannequin, it looked better. But when she came across, I was like, oh my God, like I cannot see this. And I was like, this has to be the thing that ends this streak of never-ending positive compliments from the judges, because that's all we've been getting. We don't get any of the negative critiques in the edit. All we get is just like, oh, you had such a great time. Oh, this week is just so good for you. Bitch, fuck that. This was a mess, okay? It was a mess. And like, once again, I know that there is some level of vision and talent here. And RHA is one of the people that can sew and knows how to create a look. I just feel like this was just not it. I can't, like, it looks like a blob. I can't see it. I can't.
Did she create the boots?
I don't think so.
Because I would never have bought those boots.
Oh.
Even the boots are bad too. Like, why are they so like? They need to. Like, I would feel much better if they were like
a little
skin
more fitted.
tight. Yeah, like they look like they're about to fall off. Like, it's just. Trinity had it right when Raja was over there talking about, yeah, it's giving like Dreamcatcher. Trinity's like Nightmare Catcher, bitch.
I live. Sorry, that's me doing Vivian doing Trinity.
Yeah.
So, I love Raja, but I don't. When they were like, oh my god, it's just so good, I was like, Betsy Johnson, you do not have to come all this way to lie. Like,
here's the thing. I actually think Betsy Johnson would think this is good. That did not shock me. I was like, yep, Betsy Johnson's here for this. That's fine. I don't know.
Is it just a bad picture of it? Like, does it look better from the side? Like,
it's not a bad picture of it. This is actually probably one of the most flattering ones. I commend Liana on her ability to pick it.
I think for me, it's Raja's charisma that makes me look at it and go, when she's walking in it, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. But then I go back and I look at pictures and I'm like,
yeah,
okay.
What is going on? Like,
I just think it's too much and you lose her shape, right? Like, I actually love the concept of doing kind of the like post-apocalyptic, like what she had drawn, I think looked really cool. Yeah. But that had a really well-defined silhouette and then using the layers sort of on top of that. But because there's kind of so much there, she just kind of looks like a like, you know, when you go to the car wash and they've got all those like little things that hang down, she's like a walking version of that.
Yes.
You know?
What Raja did here, I commend her on. She took Jiggly Caliente's apocalyptic look and made it a little better, but not good. That's what she did.
From like her neck up, she looks like a goddess. Like, agreed. I'm not gonna lie. Like, in the headpiece, really gorgeous. It's just, it's just all that fabric. You just kind of lose her in it.
I think the other issue here is that we had just had this like kind of ill-fitting, hanging off version when she looked like a warrior a couple weeks ago on the runway, and I had my own issues with that. Even though I thought she can carry anything well. She looks so beautiful and everything, but I just kind of felt like, we just had something that had a general similar feel to how it's ill-fitting just 2 weeks ago. Not too far off of a color palette similar to this. Granted, that was gold, but it was like gold and purple. And we have like purple white going on here. So I don't know. I was a little disappointed.
I think she kind of got stuck with her last choice, which I do feel bad about. And then, you're just kind of stuck with all this white, which can bleed out. So she wants to try to create a little bit more of the dynamics with the texture. And then I think her look is probably the worst that she got to inspire by. So, you know, look, I understand the situation that she's in. And thankfully, no one goes home this season. So good.
I would also say I love that her hair is on the opposite side of RuPaul's. Like, so the photos back and forth. I kind of like that. It looks cool.
We're going with inspired by.
Inspired.
Okay, Jinx is up next. And we did get a little bit of the workroom drama with Jinx gluing onto the corset without it being on the form, which then she had to completely redo.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to lie, I was a little nervous for her knowing that. And then also the fact that this is not, you know, Jinx's forte. But it's not terrible.
It's never as bad as as she's making it out to be. I'm like, you actually have a little bit of chops here. Like, it's not like, I feel like I'm like, is this part of your strat, girl, to like make us think it's gonna be horrible, and then you actually come through with something nice? So we're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I like that this time she didn't have Trinity or Jada helping her.
That too. Well, as far as we know.
Yeah. As heavily on camera.
It's not my favorite. Obviously she still has a long way to go if she ever wants to create like something spectacular. But you know, it's fine, I guess. I didn't really like the makeup. I didn't like the small lip. That was very distracting.
Thank you. Oh my God. All I could stare at was her thin lips. And I was just like, why would you choose to paint them that way? Is this on purpose? What is the point of this? Is this
it's supposed to be this kind of like, I was taking it as like Moulin Rouge kind of feel saloon thing, and I was like, I don't know
like
what
Betty
you're
Boop, tiny
doing.
mouth type deal.
It looked.
Shit.
I got what she was going for. I didn't like the execution of it.
Well, I think the issue is that everything on camera, when you're on camera, all your makeup has to be darker and it has to be thicker because it doesn't translate as well. So it maybe this looked good in person and communicated what needed to happen, but like just paint. You don't have to do a full like. You know, you don't have to overline and whatever. You just a little bit more because it looked like she had no lips, and I was like, "Where's her mouth?"
Look
at
how much makeup is on the eyes.
Yeah, and it was just unbalanced, right?
It's so unbalanced. Well, I mean, and then you could say that for the entirety of the outfit, right? I mean, which she means kind of like, oh, I've got this one sleeve that's purple and this one leg that's purple and such. I like the bodice part. And I like the general feel that she's going for. I agree that it's not as bad as it could have been or like what she used to be able to produce on this kind of show. But she, for me, was absolutely the worst outfit on the runway. I also do not understand how this comes from this other dress.
Yeah, that too.
But again, how much of that is the materials they're giving? I wish they had shown us what materials they had been given so that we can oh, you just made a dumb choice.
We saw like a quick shot of all the
I want details.
Well, I think so like the thing is that I can actually see what she's doing with the using the sheer on the arm and the leg is similar to the asymmetry that Ru has with one arm covered, one leg covered. So like I actually totally get that is sort of the connection that she's trying to make, but that part actually distracts me from the rest of what I think is actually looks relatively good if she was going for that sort of like saloon girl look. So in that part, but then if you remove that part, then it's like less, you know, quote unquote inspired by the Ru look. So yeah,
I think it's giving like a little bit of like circus clown type deal, and I think that the makeup didn't really help. Like something about that corset with like that purple stocking and that purple glove or sleeve, just it's giving circus. And
I don't know, a clown would have worn more makeup.
Look, yes, I mean this is Jinx, this is not her strong suit, right?
Okay, it was definitely passable.
Yes, and she should be proud of herself for what she made, but
absolutely,
yeah, it's not her strong suit. It's not her strong suit.
No, it's not.
Okay, let's talk about the other winner from this week's episode, Jada, who was also in the top 2 for the ball. And so she has the VH1 Divas tribute to Diana Ross and apparently had very loud fabric, as that seemed to be an issue during the construction of the garment. So these are not pants, right? This is a gown.
This is a gown.
Okay.
This is a gown.
This is a gown. I love the deep neckline. I think that's stunning. I think that she, like, for me, this is inspired without being an exact replica because I get what she's going for. And she was obviously given this fabric. So, you know, she had that to work with. And then also with the, I don't know the shawl sort of like animal fabric coat thing. Yeah, she did it in a way that still is the homage to the original look, but isn't exactly the same. And so the focus actually goes from sort of being that piece to really the gown, which I think she constructed beautifully.
I wish she had worn the coat and then took it off.
Yeah.
Because this is such a loud amount of gold, sequin and all that other, like these huge and small, like little bits all together. I could not tell what was a part of the coat that she was just overlapping onto her dress and how much of it was her dress.
Well, that's what I'm saying is I don't think it was like a full jacket. I think it was just a little like arm thing. Let me see.
A little shawl.
Yeah, exactly. Like a little shawl. Let me go back to the video. Yeah, it's just a shawl. It's not a coat. So it's like it's just one like rectangular piece of fabric with the animal on the print on the side and then actually the dress print in the middle.
Right. I still wish that she had worn it around her shoulders so we could have seen what the dress looked like below on that one side though, because I can't tell what it looked like until she got to the workroom. And then she started taking everything off and I was like, girl, I didn't get a good look. I don't know. Don't get me wrong. This is stunning. right? This is not easy material to work with. She had a challenge in that. I just could not tell what that, at least that one side looked like. And for that, she lost mental points with me.
She did swap the mink thing to the other side.
Yeah, and when she turned around and I was like, that was still don't see it. It's on the other side. But I do love, she had kind of like these open plunges like on her hips that also looked very sexy, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had the cutouts on the side, which I think was like supposed to be the opposite of like Ru's look, right? Where it's like Ru's whole legs are exposed, the sides are covered. This is the opposite of that with the cutouts being there.
It was really cool. I hate the hair though.
I feel like for me, I didn't really expect Jada to win, only because I felt like there were some other stronger interpretations of the looks. Obviously, this is an interpretation from the original, but it. I don't know. I guess I just wasn't excited by this one as much as I would have liked to have been. And the fact that the fabrics were all sort of like one note. She kind of just used one fabric and call it a day, which isn't bad. You know, she still constructed this dress and it looks beautiful. But because some of her peers had used different types of textures, I was like it sort of like raised my expectations for all of them. And I felt like this was sort of playing it a little too safe because she didn't really venture off into anything else. So I wasn't like super shocked that she was in the top, but I was like, oh, I didn't even think about her to win. I thought it would have been like maybe Evie before her, or I guess maybe just Evie before her.
I think that she has the fabric is the centerpiece.
Right.
Yeah. Even as much as we can talk about the details, like I mentioned, the deep V, the cutouts, all of that.
Right.
You still, all you look at is the fabric. And so maybe I do wonder if there's a little bit of like, well, girl, it's just fabric, right? Like what else did you do that? Whereas Evie's, if you think of hers, although to me, there's bits that are unfinished, it doesn't like quite look the way that I would want a final polished look to have, but it has that creativity of taking the look, clearly being inspired and flipping it on its head. And so, with Aman's criteria, his 3-level criteria, where in all the points, does everything fall? So I think that maybe helps to kind of explain why there's these different feelings towards looks, even though this obviously looks much more polished and finished than Evie's, but maybe it lacks some of that je ne sais quoi.
And then also remembering that in the hands of pretty much anybody besides maybe Trinity, nobody else could have worked with this material.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And then you have,
I think that's the main thing. Yeah. They all know, they're all like, I know what it took to do that.
Probably Raja would have been able to too. I should have said Raja and Trinity. But knowing that you have to be a seamstress in order to utilize this,
Okay, let's talk about the face kini, the infamous face kini look. And this is Monet, who she has come such a long way from the sponge dress. I just want to say, like, credit where credit is due. She makes this whole ass freaking jumpsuit thing with the corset and the boots and the face kini and the hat. I was really impressed with Monet.
Me too.
Yeah. I thought that the critique about like how how she has 2 different types of Jackson Pollock things going on, but they meld together so well, even though they're completely 2 different types of patterns. Yeah, I totally take that. It just it looks good. I love that they also, like, RuPaul was actually like, she's got a big juicy ass, and she chose to offset that by having that hat on with the plants coming out. I was like, I don't know if that was what her goal was, but sure.
I think she was showcasing that big juicy ass. What I was I thought where she was going with that was that she's got a big juicy ass, and that makes it much harder to put together a one-piece jumpsuit, bodysuit essentially, which I agree with. And what I think is interesting is that I keep going back and forth of like, she really makes me question, like, was this easy or not to make? And I think that's a good thing for her. Because for this kind of, like, she used 2 fabrics, but she made a face kini that it looks like is completely attached to the bodysuit. And it may not be, but the way that she made it looks like it's the same thing from at least ankle, if not toe, to head, which is incredible. And then add in, you know, the boots in the waistband and then the hat. And then have those earrings on the outside, which, like, I agree with RuPaul. It's so dumb and I love it. And that's like, I loved this a lot. And there were lots of times where I was like, am I a hypocrite for saying, like, I kind of feel like this should have been in the top over someone like Jada or Trinity, who clearly are these beautiful seamstresses who came up with something just absolutely beautiful and unique, and nobody else could have pulled those off, and maybe other people could have pulled this off, but I don't know, maybe it's just because I have this underdog story of her for like a designer, and that she keeps growing every time, but I don't know.
I thought she was gonna be in the top. I'm not gonna lie, I really did.
Yeah,
I was
based
like,
off of the critique she was getting, yeah, so did I.
I thought it was gonna be her and Trinity. I thought they were gonna be the top two, and then it's like the twinners against each other, which is like a whole storyline. I'm sure they'd love that, right? They have an opportunity to give Monet, you know, another star, and plus Monet and Trinity only have 1 star, so then it's like you're trying to keep things even. My little story producer, that's what I was thinking, and that's what I was trying to do in my head. Obviously, that wasn't the case, and story aside, I don't think that diminishes from what Monet was able to do, because to me, this was definitely top 2 worthy. The freaking like fingers on the gloves plus the hat. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems super impressive to me. You know what I mean? I was blown away by what she was able to make, especially knowing also, that she wasn't a seamstress, so she gets
for it to be so form fitting.
Right? And maybe the fabric, because of all the patterns, is like more forgiving of anything that's a loose.
Yeah, maybe the corset also helps.
It's definitely a stretchy material. Which
for sure.
Definitely easier to work with. But at the same time, like, I don't know. I was blown away by this.
Yeah, I was as well. And the corset and the boots again on top of that, right? Like, so.
I don't know. Does it being stretchy make it easier? Doesn't it make it harder? Because it's like all like bunched up, and then you gotta like.
Well, in terms of being forgiven,
how do you do it? How do you do it? I just.
How do clothes happen?
It's magic to me.
How do clothes work?
I know. It's just so funny because I think I have a bias for certain people. In their ability to create an outfit. Like, I'm like very down on Raja this week because I feel like she could have done more. And I know it sounded like I was really down on Jinx, but I really am like, I'm very impressed with what Jinx was able to do. And here I'm like, Monet should be in the top because this is amazing. And it's also like, it's Monet. It's not someone I expected to win a challenge. You know, we had the same 2 people who won the last construction challenge.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, I love how Trinity in the Untucked like had to like sort of like tell Raja like, bitch, look, I didn't think I'm gonna come together. You might see some things in the edits when this comes out in the year.
Yeah, this is her preparing for that. Of like, I may have shaded you a bit.
I said some shit, and I'm gonna own up to it. But you know what I thought was great about that is that Trinity maintained to her face. But you know what? It actually looks good. And I'm like, Trinity.
Cover your ass, girl.
There were certain angles where it was like, okay, it's not that bad. But like front on, I'm like, oh my. Yeah. Like, I feel like I just need to see it move more. But like when it's not moving, it just hangs.
Yes. Right. And that's exactly my point. That was when I saw the video, it looked okay. Like it definitely looked better. And then I look at photos, I'm like, not so much. I think Monet, just one aside, Monet is someone who's really interesting to me based on the edit that we've seen from her so far. We've gotten a lot of like personal content from her. Like we saw the thing about her cat in this episode, with her cat having its own Instagram and all of that. My little spidey senses start tingling. There's something going on with Monet here. I don't know what is going to happen in the next 4 weeks. Because as we heard them talk in the next time on, there's 4 challenges. I don't know. I'm just keeping it in mind. I'm just throwing it out there. It's something I noticed.
No, I agree with you because I'm sitting here and I'm going like, if there was like a tragic, like edgic kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Edgic,
like,
but for drag.
Like I really feel the same. Because it's interesting to me, like, arguably, Trinity has been doing better than her in the competition as the other twinner, and we haven't gotten nearly as much personal content or like we don't check in with her in the way that we check in Monet to move along a story.
I'm just saying. Something there. There's something there. Okay, so we move on to Jada and Trinity being announced as our top 2. So they will be lip syncing against one another again. This time, the song is going to be I Want Love by Jessie J, with ultimately Trinity winning the lip sync. So, Aman, did you feel like this was the correct decision for the winner of the lip sync?
I kind of felt like Trinity cheated just a little bit by stuffing her face in Jada's ass. Like, drag is not really a contact sport, and like normally, and it's okay if the queens interact with each other, but I feel like it has to be like a mutual thing. It has to be an organic thing that happens where they're like both feeling each other, like you're talking to each other, or they're like doing whatever the hell. It has to be a mutual thing. But because I feel like she snuck up on Jada and rammed her body into hers, and Jada was like, "Whoa, what's going on?" For a second, I was like, that feels a little cheaty to me. But whatever.
I don't like it. I still don't like when Alaska like licked Katya without Katya really knowing, kind of like played it off or whatever. But I also fully really don't like that Katya didn't win a lip sync that season. So maybe I'm just trying to come up with a reason.
With me. Yeah.
But no, I agree with you for that. I felt like Jada was much stronger in the beginning and then started to kind of fade. And then Trinity was pulling out like tricks and stunts and such. So I don't know.
Yeah, I sort of had the same feeling. I think ultimately I'm happy that Trinity was able to win a lip sync, but there was that part that just didn't sit well with me, which makes me a little bit like, But look, she gets an opportunity to block, and we did see her and Monet discussing some strategy earlier in the episode. So we did know that Trinity was looking at, I think Raja and Evie were the 2 that she was looking to block.
Or Shea, possibly.
Or yes.
Yeah. And we get in the Untucked too, this little moment where she and Monet are at the mirror talking. They're like, Jinx is always around us when we're trying to talk strategy. And I was like, I feel like we need to put them in the Big Brother house.
Yeah, it's giving. I got big. That actually got me excited for the upcoming season. I was like, I kind of missed it a little bit. Okay.
Every time we try to talk strategy, Steve Moses is here or whatever. Like he's
yeah, pull it straight from Big Brother. Like that was that conversation. And we've seen instances, right, of them talking strategy and making alliances. But yeah, that was that first moment where I was like, okay, this isn't just like put on for the cameras. This like feels real. This feels like real strategy going on. That was.
I also love that they're fully talking about Jinx being there when Shea was in the mirror with them, but like not on camera for most of that conversation. You just see Shea like putting on makeup, and they're like, anyway. So I feel like
I think Shea had the headphones in.
Oh, girl, the way I would have been muting the headphones and walking right up next to them and being like,
that's what I was hoping that Jinx was doing. I was hoping that we were going to get a confessional from Jinx being like, I hear these bitches. They think I'm listening to this song.
Please, for the love of God, somebody do a Drag Race Batgirls Club kind of feel where like you just put them all in a house afterwards and then we get some of this look into their life.
They keep saying that there's some sort of drag Big Brother crossover.
I really don't. I think that was fake. I
think that specific update was fake, but that's not the first time that we've heard something about it. So I feel like it was like where there's smoke, there's fire. I feel like there's something going on. Maybe I don't think it's Netflix related at all, but I think there might be. I don't know.
You're just saying,
especially now with their Paramount Plus.
On Beth ready.
I just feel like something's happening.
I think that though, if I'm gonna fanfic a show, that's what I'm picking.
100%.
I'm putting drag queens in a house and making them play Big Brother, right? Like that's what I'm fanficking. So I do wonder if because there's so much, is it just because the fans want it so bad, or maybe they're but because the fans want it so bad, give it to me. Like, I need that. Please. Pretty please. I've been a good girl this year. Okay. Like,
right. BB 25.
Oh my God.
BB 25, the 25th season.
Oh, BB 25.
Landmark season.
I would love each of those queens leaving the house and Julie Tren trying to like talk to them about God. And they're like, God is RuPaul, honey. You better get out of here. And just like wave her down. It would be amazing.
I mean, look, some politicians want to keep, drag queens away from children. So put them in a house, lock them up.
Yeah, lock them up. Lock them up.
If they did that, the ultimate troll would be if they made one of the rooms like a library room where like they have like children's books that they could read to the cameras on the feeds. Would be amazing
for the children. I saw one tweet that was like, really, we should be keeping kids away from drag queens.
100%.
Because like, they don't deserve, drag queens don't deserve that.
Yeah. My favorite thing about Trixie tweeted something and then somebody responded to her and said, you should be away from, or like you should stay away from children. And Trixie responded, girl, I hate kids. Like, I don't want them near me. Get them away. It's my ideal situation.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Okay. Getting back on track. So Trinity blocks Evie. So Evie is going to be blocked. Evie does have 2 stars. So now I think we have 4 queens with 2 stars Jada will have 3.
Jada's in the lead and has never been blocked. So if she doesn't win this next one, I can't see anybody else but her getting blocked.
Yeah. And they were doing a little bit of the math in the next time on. So next week, they talked about how there's only 4 challenges left, which means theoretically a max, if they don't do any twists, a max of 8 stars that would be given out. And so in order to guarantee yourself to be in the finale, I think 2 is what the Vivian was saying that they would need.
So at what point do they do Liana drag math, which we figured out a couple weeks ago, which was to say, let's just load people up on stars if you have to give stars away, or thinking about who you're blocking. I think at a certain point, you're 100% correct. I think we're at the point now where you have to start blocking people, not who you think are going to get. Like, it actually would be a waste to block Jada, to be perfectly frank, because she already has 3.
If you just decide, look, Jada's going to be in the finale, so let me try to use this time by targeting the people that I think, could make it up there. But also, I mean, I just I don't understand how we're going to get out of this without a tie. How are we going to have a clear top 4? I mean, we have, essentially, again, 1 queen with 3, 3 queens with 2, and 4 queens with 1.
I think there will be a week where the top 2. I think that's what's going to be.
Steal.
I think that the top 2 will not be given a star, is that they have to steal a star.
I'm wondering if that's what... I mean, Liana, you were talking about some foreshadowing. Maybe there's a little bit of...
Maybe.
I can see some villain stuff about to happen, and that someone's about to get iced right on out of the finale.
I feel left out.
It's so hot in here. Look, it's possible. I mean, Trinity does mention there must be a twist coming, although then she makes in your ankle, right? Which is hilarious. And then is it Jada? I was like, okay, Tanya. So maybe it was just a joke. Maybe it was just a funny joke between 2 queens, or is this foreshadowing of something to come? So
also, weird to have the ankle comment when Betsy Johnson actually hurt her ankle when she did the split. But also, she's no spring chicken. The fact that she did that, I was like, I was living.
Is she still doing that? I know, because isn't that how she ends her runways or whatever, her shows, her fashion shows, is doing the splits? She's out there doing splits.
Because she opened her shop in 1966, so she was born in the 40s, so she's in her 70s.
Yeah,
that's incredible,
girl. The way that the healthcare is set up here, you need to take care of yourself.
Go get that dual citizenship with a place that has universal healthcare.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, next week is going to be an acting challenge. So we are getting the soon-to-be cult classic Santa School for Girls.
That is...
I have no idea.
I loved it. I was like, I heard Chris before they even announced it. I heard jingles in the back. I was like,
it's Christmas time.
Christmas in July. Yes.
Yes.
It will be July then. It'll be July 1st.
Yeah, it's gonna be July. Yeah, that's why I said that.
Christmas in July.
I'm a genius.
You really are.
I know. I have to imagine this is what, if Jinx could have been blocked here, that would have been, ideal. But this is going to be a good opportunity for some of the girls who are good at acting to really shine. I think a lot of people are going to be successful, and I'm super curious to see what's going to happen.
Who do you think will be the top 2 based off if the fact that it's acting?
I mean, how does Jinx not end up in the top 2?
Agreed.
Right? So that's one. And then the question is who do we think can scoot in there? The Vivian is an option. Who is it that ended? Trinity, Monet.
Shea, I think I think there's a fire under Shea's ass right now.
Evie is blocked, but we have seen her do well in acting challenges
Raja,
before.
I thought, did solid in the improv of like the fairy tale court. And I think that if given the right role, she could do it really well.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. When the stars reflect how close this season is, and we genuinely, I remember when we did our Insta live at the beginning, there were some queens, you know, we were talking about, oh, who do we think is the weakest? And we talked about Evie, and now Evie has 2 stars, you know, even though one was given, but still, right? Like,
still,
you never know. You never know how things are going to go.
Oh, man.
Nah. All right. That does it for us here. Is there any other thoughts y'all have before we get out of here? Yes, no, it's hot.
No, I just continuing to ride this wave. It's been a fantastic season, and it has not faltered once. So I'm excited.
Totally agree. And we will be back next week to talk about everything from Santa's School for Girls. Can't wait.
Yeah, it's also creepy.
It does sound really creepy. Like Santa, a little bit of a, you know, pervy side. I don't know. We'll find out. Okay. Aman, where can people find you on social media? What do you have going on?
You can find me at Aman Adwin everywhere, and I'm just doing Drag Race for now.
All right, Beth, what about you?
You can find me at AugustaWind11. You can also catch me on Hot Mess Moments, where Dylan and I take a topic every week and also give you an update of where we are with Lost and the Nanny. And you can catch me on My Weekly Meltdown as well.
All right. And you can follow me on Twitter at Liana RHAP. I am going to be on Crime Scene this week. We're going to be talking about the HBO documentary The Janes, about underground abortions. Very important given what is going on.
Yep.
How apropos. Yeah, excited for those to come back. JK, sarcasm, get me out of here. Life is burning, whatever, it's fine. Okay, so I will be doing that. So if you're interested, definitely come check us out on Crime Scene. Also, if you want to support us, you can leave star ratings and reviews on iTunes. Rob has a website.com/drag race for that. And then there's one other thing I want to promo this week. It is Pod Friends, which is, yes, Beth can speak. I literally got the notification on my phone as we were recording. Maybe actually Beth, yeah, do you want to talk about Pod Friends?
I forgot I'm going to be on Pod Friends this week.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, I'm sitting here and I'm like, you're saying like what you're on. I'm like, I feel like I'm on something else with RHAP this week. I did something. I'm so sorry, Matt Scott. Yes. It's because we recorded it a month ago. But yes, I'm going to be on Pod Friends this week. Pod Friends is an amazing show where Matt Scott gets to interview a member of the RHAP podcasting community to try to get to know them all a little bit better. I know that we talked a little bit at the time about my upcoming gig at Carnegie Hall. We also talk about my journey to finding out that I was ace and demisexual bi-romantic. And we talk about a whole bunch of other things, I'm sure, that made it in there, but I haven't listened to it yet. So I can't wait to listen to it again. But hope you all enjoy checking it out. He interviews so many amazing people, like T-Bird was earlier this month, and Grace Leader, David Bloomberg. So many wonderful people.
Yeah, essentially it's a Pod Friends is confessional type conversations with all of the human beings over at RHAP. And so Matt has done a number of different interviews. Also this month focusing on the Pride is Spoken, which is showcasing members of the RHAP community that identify as LGBTQIA+. And so there's a lot going on there. It really is sort of a behind the mic look at the podcasters of RHAP and the personalities of RHAP. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can, I'm trying to find their feed. He's got his own Pod Friends.
I'm pretty sure it's just Pod Friends. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you can do that. You can also find information more on the RHAPup if you want to check that out. Okay. That does it for us. We're going to get out of here. I'm going to go turn on my AC in 20 seconds. I can't wait.
I already turned mine on.
Thank you to Scott St. Pierre for your help behind the scenes, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.